I've seen some publishers, they've done publishing for years and their books don't seem to improve that much. The covers still look the same and they're not getting reviews. And another thing might be that your books are not converting well. Perhaps you're getting clicks to your books, but when people are on your product page, for some reason they don't buy it. The tech companies today, they are hijacking our brains by rewarding us with unnatural amounts of dopamine. I did a dopamine detox because I understood that I want to make everything else that is not related to working on my business as boring as possible. Is your Amazon KDP business not growing like you want it to? Stick around and we'll do some troubleshooting and try to figure out what might be holding you back. So why should you listen to me? I've built a 7-figure self-publishing business and I've helped a friend build a 6-figure self-publishing business. And I will tell you throughout these videos what I wish I knew when I got started or when I was in the middle of my journey. Have you ever heard the saying that you don't have business problems, you have personal problems that show up in your business? If you're 30 seconds into this video and you're already thinking about the next video to watch, then I think this is the problem that you're dealing with. Because if we don't have the attention to stick to a video that might contain the information that is between us and personal freedom, then how are we ever going to endure the boredom that comes with building a business? Because yes, business, it has its fun moments, and especially when you look at the lifestyle a self-publishing business can provide. However, the actual step-by-steps of building the business can often be frustrating and sometimes boring. So let's imagine our ancestors and how they would look at our current generation when it comes to the comfort that we have and the opportunities that we have. And I think that many of them will be a little bit dumbfounded and question why we're not able to focus. For example, I suppose many of our ancestors, they were in the woods chopping down trees for hours and hours, and they were hunting, and they were probably looking at a prey for hours and hours, not much happening. Yet now we struggle to watch a 7-minute video. But I don't think that this is our fault, because the companies, they're trying to do the best they can to get us addicted to their products and to reward us by giving us dopamine. So dopamine, that's the thing that our ancestors got when we went hunting, for example. And it's also something that you get when you achieve a goal. So the tech companies today, they are hijacking our brains by rewarding us with unnatural amounts of dopamine when we, for example, scroll social media. So what I did in my own journey is I did a dopamine detox because I understood that I want to make everything else that is not related to working on my business as boring as possible. Because then working on my business became the only thing that was fun. So I went to the extreme. I even was celibate for a while. And if you look at what I have right now, I don't have a Facebook app on my phone. I have the newsfeed eradicator on my Facebook when I log in on my computer. So there are different things that you can do. And if you want to learn more about this, I recommend that you read up on dopamine detox. And I can make a separate video on how you can do this. But understand that you need the focus to be able to do the tasks that will be required to grow your self-publishing business. Second up, let's talk about mindset. And I will get into some practical things, so don't worry. But if you're still thinking things such as money doesn't grow on trees, or it's too late, or other limiting beliefs like that, then what I encourage you to do is to watch, for example, success stories. You can watch my interview with my friend. And when you question your own limiting beliefs by providing proof of it not being true, then you're able to overcome it eventually. And if you watch my other videos, you will slowly start to adapt the right mindset that you need to succeed with self-publishing. Okay, so moving on. Let's imagine that we've covered the base. You now know how to focus. You made it this far into the video, so kudos for that. And also you have the right mindset. You're thinking long term. Then what is the next step we want to look at? We want to look at what does it take for us to get better at something. Do we get better at something by simply doing it? The answer is no. And I will tell you an example. So if we look at my handwriting from preschool to I think about 3rd grade improved. And what is the reason it improved? Because I got direct feedback from my teacher on how to improve my handwriting. However, since then, my handwriting has stayed the same. It hasn't improved in 2 decades. And why is that? It's because I haven't received any feedback and I haven't analyzed what I could do better. So another story I can tell you is when I was working in a fish factory and I was sweeping the floor at the end of the day. I received a comment from one of my colleagues. He said that I was sweeping the floor too slowly. And he took the brush and he started sweeping these long sweeps, and he also did it twice as fast. And from that day on, I also doubled my speed of sweeping the floor by simply getting outside eyes to look at what you're doing. You can be able to increase your rate or your speed of improving. So when it comes to your self-publishing business, maybe your covers are not good enough, or maybe your titles aren't good enough. Whatever it is, you want to aim to identify it and you want to analyze, what can I do better? And is there anything I can improve for this book or something I can implement on the next books? So for example, I've seen some publishers, they've done publishing for years and their books don't seem to improve that much. The covers still look the same and they're not getting great reviews. And the reason for that is because they're on autopilot, just like my handwriting. Okay, so moving on, let's discuss the concept of the bottleneck. So the bottleneck is the constraint of your business. So if we take self-publishing as an example, my friend, he doesn't have the problem that he doesn't have enough books. Instead, his bottlenecks is that he can't publish the books or the manuscripts and the ready covers that he has because he doesn't get enough reviews for the books. So I will share with you some bottlenecks that I've encountered throughout my self-publishing journey. So at one point I was working too much in the business instead of working on the business. And to solve that, I started to identify what am I doing that someone else can be doing, or what can I eliminate, and what systems can I build to make the publishing process more streamlined. Another example, for some of my books, I can see that they're not getting enough clicks if we look at the Amazon ads, for example. And why is that? It's probably because the cover is not good enough, or perhaps the keyword that I'm targeting is not popular enough, or it could be that there's too much competition. Perhaps I'm in a niche where there's already a lot of established authors. For example, if I'm in a niche such as productivity, I don't have an audience, then it's going to be hard for me to compete as a completely new publisher. And another thing might be that your books are not converting well. Perhaps you're getting clicks to your books, but when people are on your product page, for some reason they don't buy it. Or another example was that I wasn't getting the compound effect, which is people weren't buying more of my products because all my books, or many of my books, were in different topics, which means that I'm not getting the snowball effect that we want, which is people are buying a series of our books. And I wasn't collecting the email addresses, for example, so I wasn't building an audience where I could make it easier for myself to, for example, gather reviews, because I know that that is a struggle for many publishers, including myself at one point, is getting enough reviews. And when you have an audience, that part is much easier because you want a legitimate way to get reviews. Maybe you can get reviews that are through some certain method. However, is that sustainable? Maybe the reviews will get removed and maybe you're risking the account. So you want a legitimate way to get reviews. So whatever it is that is stopping you from growing, always aim to identify it first, and then once you've identified, then you can aim to create an action plan to solve it. But sometimes, as mentioned in this video, you might need an outside person to look at your blind spots. For example, my friend, when he got started, he struggled a little bit with the titles. He didn't understand the keywords properly either. So sometimes it's very good to have someone from the outside that can look at your blind spots. But I know one fact, that if you made it to the end of this video, you don't have the issue that you can't focus, because you actually watched the entire video. And leave a comment down below for any future topics that you want me to talk about. See you in the next one.